Hey, what up, everybody? I'm your host, Will. This is Phantom Frequency, where we dive into all the various topics and corners of the multiverse that makes up pop culture. So make sure, if you're digging the vibe, if you love the discussion, just click any of the buttons below the video. We appreciate any and all support that comes through the channel. All you awesome new subscribers coming in have got us to 450. Let's keep the channel growing. Let's keep it going, and let's just keep it moving, baby. But today, we're going to be getting into the pop culture show where we talk about all the news, and there was quite a bit of it and some really cool stuff about filmmakers and things that I'm really passionate about as well that I think y'all want to hear about. And we're talking about episode 13 of What's the Word, of course. And like I said, we dive into all the different various pop culture topics and everything like that. And we got some cool ones to get into today, guys. So why don't we go ahead and get into this first one? And it's a pretty big doozy for right now. Normally, I don't pay attention to any Star Wars announcements because Lucasfilm has been really off their game, especially when it comes to those things and having an actual plan for their films and overall universe right now. But apparently, Simon Kinberg has or is in the works of signing a deal to potentially write, produce, and help them develop a Star Wars trilogy for the future that will potentially center around the character of Rey. I don't know if this has anything to do with the previous version of the Rey movie that they were working on with Obed Chinoy or something like that, I think is her name. And I have no clue what's happening with that. But apparently, they're working with Simon Kinberg or have reached out to him recently. This hasn't been officially announced by Lucasfilm or anyone at Disney. This was just something that was scooped by Vulture and the Hollywood Reporter and all these more reputable news sites in the world of pop culture and movie news and things like that. So they're the ones that kind of spilled the beans here. I don't know if this is essentially going to be episodes 10, 11, 12. I have been hearing conflicting reports that it's going to be its own thing and something that's going to set up a new series of movies and could tie into other projects going on. Like I mentioned at the top of this thing, when it comes to Star Wars, nothing seems clear. They don't really seem to have a handle on what they want to do for the focus of the future of this franchise. They just seem to be going all over the place and doing the old school method of just getting a hot director, a hot name in Hollywood, and getting them to work on something and seeing if it sticks. And that doesn't necessarily work in the shared universe type of franchises. The MCU tried to kind of play fast and loose with that. It didn't work so well with them. When you have these shared universes, you really got to have a tight knit plan. They've been doing this in comics and different things in video games and novels and things of that nature for years now. And when you look at the way that they're doing those things, even in the world of Stephen King, some of these things are shared. And there's got to be some kind of continuity. There's got to be some kind of focus and overall vision and plan for how you want these things to play out. And Star Wars has not had that at all. They never had that with the sequel trilogy from 2015 to 2019, and they haven't had any clear direction, especially since 2019 for the past 5 years. We've had some good TV shows, we've had some bad TV shows, we've had some great live action stuff, we've had some bad live action stuff. Most of the animations have been pretty freaking awesome, especially Visions and Rebels, but overall, it's been a very mixed bag in the world of Lucasfilm in the past 5 years. Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2 were great. 3 was a little disappointing. Andor season 1, awesome. Book of Boba Fett, one of the worst things Star Wars has ever made to me. So, and to a lot of fans out there, and I think a lot of you watching this will feel the same way. So, it's hard for me to really get excited about anything going on in the world of Star Wars outside of maybe a TV series because they just don't seem to really be able to get anything off the ground other than Mandalorian and Grogu, which they have filmed officially. It is set to come out in May of 2026. That is the only thing in the world of film that seems like a sure thing. There's no Taika Waititi movie happening. I'm going to say that now. There's not going to be no Donald Glover fucking Lando movie. I'm saying it now. This is going to be the only thing that happens if any of this shit happens, besides maybe James Mangold's movie. That would be the one thing out of everything announced. Even besides this, I'd want to see, besides getting to see a Mandalorian and Grogu movie on the big screen. Other than those two things or an Heir to the Empire, I have no interest in any of this other shit. To be honest, I want to see Rey in a movie, but I want to wait till they get their shit together before they really do it. Maybe get some different people running things, not just Kathleen Kennedy, not just Dave Filoni, but I think they need just new executives in every level possible in film and TV to get this thing on the right track. Find their Kevin Feige, find their guiding hand, find somebody that has a clear vision and is creative and understands how these shared universes and these modern franchises in these like really fandom led communities and type of franchises are really done well. When it's done well, there's a focus, there's a vision, there's a clear direction of what you're trying to do. You make some pivots and adjustments along the way as needed because you can't execute everything perfectly every time and exactly the way you foresaw in your mind because you're not the fan, you're not the viewer. But at the same time, They got to get a clearer direction here. I like Simon Kinberg, but his work's all over the place. He's made some of the best X-Men films and stuff in recent memory, The Martian, things like that. But he's also made some of the lamest shit you can think about recently. So he's always been up and down. His resume is very mixed bag. So I'm not necessarily excited. I'm not necessarily against him doing it. But as long as they have a clear direction of what they want to do, whether it's him or anyone else, that at least is a step in the right direction. But y'all let me know if you care about any of this Star Wars news with the potential sequel or potential trilogy leading up or continuing on after the sequel trilogy 10, 11, and 12. That is, do you want to see a brand new original idea without having any characters related to anything like Rey or anything else? Do you want to see Simon Kinberg involved with Star Wars? Are you just pretty much over Star Wars in general right now? Y'all let me know where you fall on that down in the comments below. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. You can tell from the poster in the background. That was custom made, by the way. But I love Star Wars. I'm always going to love it, but it just doesn't feel as exciting right now. Hopefully, Skeleton Crew at least is really fun and exciting to watch at the end of the year. Andor Season 2 is going to be great, but I'm just really, it's a weird time to be a Star Wars fan, that's for sure. So y'all let me know what you think about it. But weird times for sure. Next topic here is a pretty fun one. Edgar Wright is actually doing a readaptation, remake, whatever you want to say, of the Stephen King book, The Running Man, which we haven't seen on screen since the 1987 version with Arnold Schwarzenegger right there. And I see you have that little combination picture right there because you kind of can see they're going for some similar vibes with the clothing and whatnot because there's been some set photos released as of within the last week or so of the Running Man set. It actually have revealed the official logo on the back of the director's chair. You know, they have those fold out, Hollywood style director chairs or whatever on the sets. So they're currently filming that movie right now. It's going to be also starring, obviously, Glenn Powell, as you see on the screen there. It's going to be co-starring Katie O'Brien as well. So I'm really looking forward to this. Edgar Wright's always been one of my favorite filmmakers since I fell in love with all this stuff from Scott Pilgrim, Baby Driver, and obviously the Cornetto trilogy. I love pretty much everything he's done. Last Night in Soho, a bit disappointing, but still a really cool, unique film. So I'm always up for anything Edgar Wright is willing to do and wants to do creatively. So I'm going to be very curious to see what him and Glenn Powell's relationship is going to be as actor and director and what he's going to be able to bring out of him as the director, Edgar Wright, that is, and what Glenn Powell is going to be able to do, kind of stepping into the shoes of Arnold Schwarzenegger in a way, even if he's not playing the exact same character. Just because when you think of the Running Man, you think about Arnold Schwarzenegger. You think about Arnold right away. So it's going to be very interesting to see if Glenn Powell can kind of step in and kind of rekindle the flame there. I remember they were casting. Oh yeah, and I think Josh Brolin is cast in this movie as well, if I remember correctly, because I think I talked about that on a previous episode of What's the Word about a week or two ago. But anyway, that is pretty much it for that. But yeah, just some, set photos and all that stuff kind of leaked out there. Paparazzis be everywhere, but I'm definitely looking forward to this movie. I believe it's coming out in November, actually. I think it's coming out a week before my next birthday, my 31st birthday, because I'm just about to hit that hit 30 years old, which is pretty crazy. Yeah, so bye 20s. Hello, the Running Man. But yeah, here's a fun one right here. Dan Stevens just got cast to be in Adam Wingard and Barrett's next Simon Barrett, yes. Simon Barrett's next Hollywood action gonzo film, as is being described, titled Onslaught. And if you can't tell from the picture right there, Dan Stevens, that's a still from him as the character, as the I can't remember the name of the character, but in the movie The Guest from 2014, I believe, which is a really awesome action thriller set around Halloween, also starring the Scream Queen herself, Micah Monroe. So if you haven't seen that, go watch Adam Wingard's The Guest. But he's also done some really awesome, some other kick-ass projects. He got to start working on things like VHS. He also did the film You're Next from 2011 or 2013, somewhere in there, which is my personal favorite modern horror movie today, and in my top 5 horror movies all time. He also did the last 2 Kong and Godzilla movies as well, and he did that god awful Death Note remake, but I'll forgive you for that one. But this sounds really cool. It's gonna have Adria Arjona also's in it, and I also just saw today. I didn't get an image for it, unfortunately. I didn't have time before I got into the show, but I also saw, as of today of me recording this, that Michael Biehn is going to be cast in this thing as well, who's famous from doing movies like Aliens, Tombstone, different things like that from the 80s and 90s. And he was the original in the original Terminator as John Connor's father. So really awesome. I can't remember. Kyle Reese, I think, was the character's name. So it's going to be really cool to see Michael Biehn step into this thing. He's definitely an older gentleman now, so he's not going to be doing as much action-driven stuff potentially. But he was really cool in Mandalorian season 2, I think that was. So getting to see Michael Biehn step into the world that Adam Wingard is creating is really cool. Dan Stevens is casting this as well, obviously, as you can tell with me having his image there. I love Dan Stevens. He's been picking a lot of really cool projects. I still want to see that movie Cuckoo that he did from earlier this year, but I can't find it anywhere without renting it. So I guess I'm just gonna have to buy the Blu-ray or something because I don't want to pay damn near half of the price of that when I can just own it and watch it whenever I want. You know what I mean? So I'm going to try to catch up on that before the end of the year because I got to get my top 10 horror movies of the year list and my top 10 movies going into 2025, talking about the top 10 of 2024. So I'm definitely going to catch up on that. And he also was in Abigail earlier this year, which is definitely going to be probably something in my top 10. And if you didn't see Dan Stevens' performance in that, do yourself a favor and watch that movie immediately. It's kick-ass from some of my other favorite filmmakers right now, Radio Silence, who have been doing amazing things in the genre. So I can't wait to see what Adam Wingard and Simon Barrett are cooking up. It's really, really refreshing and exciting to see him doing something original after being in the world of Kong and Godzilla for the last few years. So I'm really excited to see him stepping out of the IP world and doing his own thing. And action and horror, Adam Wingard, he's one of the best filmmakers today doing both. So I'm really, really excited for that. And we got some more news in the world of genre, baby. That's The Fly. Apparently, Japanese filmmaker Nikatyu Jusu, not sure if I said that right, I probably butchered it, is going to be making a new film for a new Fly movie that's going to be set in the same universe as the 86 version from David Cronenberg. So that to me is what's the most intriguing about this because I don't know anything about this filmmaker, but I definitely know quite a bit about that 86 The Fly, one of the best remakes of all time. So creepy and nasty. It's hard to even rewatch it. I've only seen it twice in my lifetime. It's nasty. It's gory. It's got Jeff Goldblum at his best. Gina Davis. It's a really great film. Really disgusting body horror done at its finest. Sci-fi horror hybrid just perfectly melded together from one of the most twisted minds in genre. And I love it. And getting to see a Japanese filmmaker step into the world of The Fly, to me, makes a lot of sense because Japanese filmmakers, especially when it comes to horror and thrillers, they don't pull no punches. When it comes to sci-fi, they can get really trippy and out there and have a very big affinity for horror and genre in general. So I really love that about Japan as a culture and Japanese people in general and just Japanese filmmakers. And they don't pull any punches with their shit. Their horror movies are extremely edgy and extremely just don't give a fuck attitude. I love that. So getting to see someone in a Japanese filmmaker dive into something related to David Cronenberg and maybe even having Cronenberg involved could be really cool. So I'm very curious to see where this is going to go. I'm kind of surprised they didn't get his son. I can't remember David Cronenberg's son's name, but he's been doing a lot of weird horror thriller sci-fi shit as well, kind of following in his dad's footsteps. So Brandon Cronenberg, there you go. He did a Possessor and some other movie I can't remember the name of, but he's been doing some really weird sci-fi films. So I would really like to see what he could do kind of doing it. But regardless, this Japanese filmmaker, Nikatyu. I don't know how to say it right. I'm sorry, y'all. I watch anime, but I don't speak Japanese. Give me a break, okay? So I'm really excited to see what's going to happen in the world of The Fly. It's been a long time since his last film, about just under 40 years. So 38 years right now as of the recording of this video. So it's going to be really cool to see what they do in the future with that. But only time will tell. And this next story is pretty cool as well because they're going to be developing George Romero's final installment in the Dead series, starting with 1968's Night of the Living Dead with his latest installment, which is going to be a posthumous release because he did unfortunately pass away quite a while ago. Twilight of the Dead, and it's going to be starring the great Mia Jovovich, from who's been stuck over there in the world of Resident Evil forever, working with her husband. She's going to be stepping into this and leading the charge in this zombie flick right here, and getting to see her fight zombies again is a bit on the nose, but I've always thought she was a pretty badass actress. So getting to see her play in more of the horror genre proper, and especially getting to follow in something with George A. Romero being involved with it, I think is really exciting. I've seen most of the films in that series. I've seen 4 out of the 5 or 6. I haven't seen Land of the Dead, and I think there was one after that, but I think I heard that one wasn't as good. But overall, I really dig his Dead series. I think Dawn of the Dead would be my favorite, and I'll put Night of the Living Dead at number 2, and then Day of the Dead at number 3. I did like Day of the Dead quite a bit, actually, and it was really close to kind of going over Night of the Living Dead, but something about that black and white and that old 60s flavor just makes it a bit creepier, and it's just so influential. You kind of have to bump it up a little bit. But getting to see Mila Jovovich, play around in this world and get to do a real, actual gritty horror movie would be really cool in the modern era. You don't really see her a whole lot these days anyway. So I'm pretty interested and not excited per se, but I'm very much intrigued to see what they're going to do with this. But y'all let me know if you care about the George A. Romero Dead series, which one's your favorite, and what your expectations are for this one coming up, I think next year. But yeah, Twilight of the Dead. And we got this story right here. And I actually got to pull up the goddamn episode names because I had it written down, but I forgot to bring my notebook into the studio with me. But they finally put out the episode titles for season 5 of Stranger Things. Let me get those episode titles pulled up here. Let me see. Pardon me, y'all. Let me see. I had the article. Where the fuck did it go? Where is it? Damn. Here, I got the teaser. Let me mute my phone here. Okay. So we got The Crawl for episode 1. We also have The Vanishing of Blank. So they took someone's name out. The Turnbow Trap. Sorcerer for episode 4, because there's going to be 8 episodes, by the way. Shock Jock for episode 5. Escape from Kamazats, whatever the hell that means. The Bridge. And then the last and the finale of the entire series, The Right Side Up. And it's going to be set in the fall of 1987. So I want to see some Lost Boys references in this damn thing. That's for damn sure. But yeah, so it's going to be the end of Stranger Things, which is one of my personal favorite TV series of all time. Now, I don't watch tons of TV like some people have. I've really gotten into it more in my 20s. So, take that with a grain of salt. But I've been a fan of Stranger Things since day one. I remember seeing a preview for it on YouTube. That's how I found out about it, and then went on Netflix, watched it, and just instantly fell in love with the series. And it's had its ups and downs, but overall, I think season 4 damn near is the best season of the show and has kind of raised the overall quality of Stranger Things quite a bit for me, because season 2 was okay. Season 3 was still really good, but not quite at the heights of season 1, but I still love season 3 a lot. And I just love the series overall in general, even though season 2 has a few missteps there and kind of had a little bit of that sophomore slump. I still think the Duffer Brothers are some of the best filmmakers today, and the way that they were able to kind of up the ante and almost elevate the entire series in general with season 4 and making it feel so epic and just really teeing things up for the end of the series here with Vecna and 11 and the whole kind of thing going on there is really exciting. The one element of Stranger Things they've kind of left out and left in the dust and haven't really addressed as much in recent times is the fact that they had other kids with other numbers out there, like the character of 8 from season 2, episode 6 or 7 or whatever. We never really explored any of the other characters from the lab, from Hawkins' lab, that had these abilities, and they've kind of done that in the comic books a little bit. I haven't read them fully, but I have read 1 or 2 of the issues, and I'm kind of disappointed they haven't expanded more of that side of the lore in the show, but they've done a great job expanding the Upside Down and really diving into Vecna and that whole connection and recontextualizing everything from seasons 1 through 4 leading up to that moment. You know what I'm saying? Justice for Eddie Munson, but absolutely love season 4. Cannot wait to see what they're going to do for season 5. I have a whole new type of video I'm going to do, kind of recapping these big IP franchises when they're ending and things that I'm a big fan of. So keep your eyes peeled for that. We got something really special planned on the channel for next year for Stranger Things and other franchises like that. So keep your eyes peeled for that. It's going to be months from now, but I'm going to be teasing that every so often when Stranger Things news comes up, because we're going to cover Stranger Things season 5. I ranked all previous 3 seasons leading a season 4. I ranked all the seasons as well. I reviewed all the seasons too. So make sure you go on the channel and check out that playlist. We got those all right there for you if you want to get my more extended thoughts on the series, because even though I'm a fanboy of it, I still keep it real and give it its critiques and things that I think they can improve upon throughout the series. But it's not a perfect series, but it's a kick-ass series and one of my personal favorites, and did an 80s nostalgia right. But y'all let me know which one of these topics interest you the most, which one you guys want to see go down, and everything like that. And make sure you leave your comments below and get into those discussions with us and everything like that. And until next time, make sure you guys stay safe out there. Stay tuned for everything we got going on the channel, and don't sleep on any of this dopeness. And until next time, make sure you stay safe out there. And until then, much love and peace out.